So today's video is going to be on how to siphon your tank. Right here I have the Python, which is a automatic, basically self-cleaning that hooks up to your sink. It's a siphon. But I see a lot of YouTube videos on how to siphon the tanks, but a lot of them are doing it wrong. A lot of them, scrape through the gravel like this. And as the sand, you can see a good example, it just stirs everything up. So what you want to do is when you have either gravel or sand, you just want to go straight up and straight down. So what that does is that basically helps it so it doesn't stir up all the debris and everything as much. Helps keep the level of pollutants in your tank from minimizing, from spreading all over the tank. But basically, when you clean a tank with sand, it's much easier. You're just going to pretty much hover, collect all the debris. You'll see specks and feces and all that fun stuff. If you get a little sand up, it's really not going to make a big difference. It's not going to really do any damage unless you're sucking up large quantities of it. That's the only time you want to be nervous. But with gravel, just go crazy, stick it right down into the bottom. You're going to see a lot of black, brown, nasty gunk come up, especially if you don't do your water changes, very often. But just to give you a closer view, you're just going to stick it right down in, and you're going to see a bunch of debris come up. That's going to be completely normal. Even if you don't do it a whole lot, it really doesn't mean that you have a dirty tank. It just means either your fish produce a lot, you're either overfeeding or whatnot. So it's really not a huge indicator, nothing to be worried about, especially if you're not losing a lot of fish. But yeah, it's just normal. This goes for retail around $39.99. The Python, I'll do a video on how to hook it up and put a link down below to where you can buy it. Normal water change you want to do roughly about 30% is what I do, and I do that like every 2 months. This is also going to help not stir up the water too much, but it's going to help get rid of some of the excess food that might be in the tank and all that fun stuff. So yeah, Python is probably the best thing to get. You can fill and drain the tank. I can do this 55 gallon here in roughly probably about 35 minutes. I can drain the whole thing and fill the whole thing back up. A lot of people are wondering, what about tap water, reintroducing it back into the tank? That's usually never been an issue. As long as you make sure it's the right temperature, you put your dechlorinating tap water conditioner in it, it's usually not a problem at all. I've been doing this for roughly 6-7 years with the Python. We'll never change back to a normal siphon unless I have a smaller tank, like a 1 gallon to a 5 gallon. Even my 10 gallons I use this in, but what you can do is you can just take this part off and just use the actual hose itself. Works great for baby tanks because you can kind of pinch the tube a little bit up, and that's going to restrict the flow and allow you to pick up some of the finer little details. So this is an overall great siphon. Never had a problem with it. Replacement parts are a little difficult to find, but now Python just re-released it, so the parts are a lot easier to find. You can also find this at Walmart. Like I said, Petco, PetSmart. A lot of them at Petco and PetSmart are going to be by Aquion or the Petco brand. So they're all the same thing. Sometimes the parts aren't interchangeable, but Python is the best I find. It's a little bit more durable, I've noticed. So the Aquion I had actually broke down after a little while. Some of the parts became undone and just became a mess to deal with. But trying to find a replacement parts for those is easy too. You're going to pay $8 to $10 per piece, on those. So after you drain the tank, roughly, I do it about a third. You can shut the Python off and continue cleaning. If you have any questions on the Python, comment below, post some links, post some comments, some questions, any videos you want me to do. Thanks.